Right, Women's Super League is back this week after a year off. Fran Goldthorp joins us. They say, whoever they are, Fran, that you're only as good as your last game. Now, your last game was the grand final. That wasn't a bad one, was it?
No, it was a very good game. So we're looking to just improve off that momentum and go into this season, carrying off of that and just keep working and seeing what we can really do this season and improve on certain mistakes that may have been made.
How was lockdown treated you? Obviously, it's been difficult for everyone, but how's life been for you?
Obviously, it's really frustrating not being able to play and not even being able to train is the issue as well. Just not being in and around like the girls and in and around training and just it's been really difficult. So just like we've been on a lot of Zoom calls like this one, just making sure like little challenges are set. So we're still ticking over with things. So it's been quite difficult, but it's been nice to get back in after a long time. And I think it just makes it a lot more sweeter. And we don't take it for granted as much now. So
I love the way when you were talking about your performance in the grand final, you immediately switched from I to we. Let's talk a little bit about I, because you are far too modest. The very least you should do is talk us through the two tries.
No, obviously it's very nice to get over the line. Space, it just opens up for you and you sort of just have to take your opportunities when it comes. So that's all I really did. And it's just, yeah, it worked. It worked.
We're not going to get you to say you were the star of the team that day. You deserved the player of the match award. It might have been great, but if it hadn't been for your finishing, they would have been picking up the trophy. But that is the truth. I think we need to get one thing out of the way straight away. One of the people who we've had on helping promote the women's game all the way through has been Danica. Just tell us the truth about her.
What about her? What do you want to know?
I don't know. Tell her, we think she's lovely and she's got a great backstory and she speaks so well and she's the face of the women's game. But what's the truth? She's horrible, isn't she?
No, she's not horrible. No, she was a massive part when I first got into the setup. She made it very a nice environment to be around if I needed help with anything. She's got a lot of experience with the game and it's easy to bounce off of that and get her knowledge of it being in pressurized situations. So she's not horrible at all.
We know that. We just wanted you to dish the dirt and you haven't because she's too nice. I think the other thing we can talk about is Leeds and their preparations and obviously how Lois is fitting in, but also the wider implications for the women's game this year because a lot's happened. So just looking at the Rhinos, you're kicking off against York. Lois is in situ, although she isn't because she's obviously due to give birth to her first. How's it all work for you? She is the most determined, demanding, I don't know, almost the greatest role model the women's game has had since it started. And you've got her as a coach. That's got to be fantastic, surely.
Oh, absolutely. I remember being younger. She used to coach me in high school and just looking up to her. And then for her to come in and coach alongside, it's just been amazing to get the knowledge and experience that she has, bring it into our game and be able to distribute it is being a blessing for us for definite. Everyone looks up to her. She's so respected around the whole of the group and she just brings a lot to the table that will be seen throughout this season.
And Adam Cuthbertson's got a fantastic record. He left the job virtually winning everything that was available to him. How does Lois differ?
She brings a lot more of a calm presence, but she's very tough and she demands a lot from the team. So she knows the standards that we should be at and she'll always be working to get to them standards and above them standards. So just getting the little 1%ers in, she's very hits the hard nail on with getting everything and taking the most out of training that you can possibly take out of.
Courtney Hill, your captain, amazingly talented sportswoman. She told us after the grand final about your various escapades in different sports. Rugby league at the minute, but is there anything else that you think in the future you'll be going forward with?
So I'm playing rugby union at the minute as well. So we've got 2 2-3 games left in the season. So that's been quite good, because that's given me another focus of training and stuff like that. So I haven't been too like bogged down with all lockdown stuff. I've had like a bit to do. So yeah, just them two sports really. Don't really know which I'm going to pick. Haven't really been pressured into making a decision at my age, so it's like really helped, to be honest. Like both coaching groups have been quite supportive of allowing me to do as much as I can. So it's actually worked out quite well.
It must be nice just to have options, mustn't it, going forward? Because obviously rugby league's in the women's game is a growing sport, as it is in rugby union, but rugby union with that higher profile at the moment. Yeah,
exactly. I feel like rugby league is just going to carry on growing. The same with rugby union, and just being able to be on two platforms that are going to get the attention in like the near future. I just think it's very promising for the women's game, and just actually getting the exposure that it probably deserves.
You wouldn't dream of trying to pressurise you, but it is league that you will be. No, it isn't. You must make the choice yourself. Just want to talk about the profile of league. I mean, it's stratospheric when you think where we were in 2018 when the Super League was announced. Looking at some of the things that are going to happen this year, clearly there's now a mid-season international against Wales. And that's leading into the Women's World Cup at the end of the year, which opens with a doubleheader at Headingley. How excited are you about that? How much do you want to force your way into it? Do you think we're going to see you running out facing the Amazonas?
I hope so. I just think there's a lot of opportunities that are available like this season, especially for like some of the younger girls as well coming through. I think it's a real opportunity that maybe the exposure and stuff that we didn't have before. And it'll definitely push the women's game out there, especially with the World Cup being on our soil. I feel like there's going to get a lot of exposure in and around that, and more people will become aware of the standard of the game, and deservedly so. There's some amazing talents within the women's game, and I can only see it growing from the platform that we have already created.
And there's a women's game every week going to be featured on Twitch. I have no idea what that is, but are you excited about that?
Yeah, no, it's a great platform. I think that the majority of people will start using that, and it's just a great opportunity and option for people who are interested in like just watching a game that's an extra game, and they might think, oh, I'll give it a fancy. So I definitely think it's a great step. Like, it's a great step in the right direction that the women's game needs to go in.
That, of course, will be the only way people will be able to watch it in a minute, because obviously there's no crowds at games. It's going to be obviously difficult. It's not as if Wheatwood has thousands and thousands of people there, but there is a band of supporters there who do make a lot of noise and get behind you.
No, I think it's going to be very weird this season, just like even support of like from families and people who are actually like come to every game and make the noise. We can hear, like, it makes a huge difference on the pitch when you may be down or you may be behind. And I think it's going to be a very weird thing that we're going to have to adapt to this season. But knowing that they have a platform to be able to like watch still, I think that'll give us the encouragement we need to go out there and do the job for them.
Everyone loves a rivalry. Everyone loves to build up some kind of drama. Yourselves in Castleford, you seem to meet in every final in the last couple of years, apart from that final Wigan one. But you've got the sign over them at the moment, but you must know they'll be ready to try and knock you off the perch this year.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people gunning for us this year, which I think we'll be ready for. We'll be ready to take the challenge. Obviously, there's a huge rivalry there, and we never want to lose. I'm sure they never want to lose. So it's just about keeping the composure and knowing that we will be working and we are dedicated to winning that. And yeah, I just think it's obviously there'll be pressures in and around getting the title and all that, but I think we'll just take it a game at a time, and hopefully we'll come out with the win.
In terms of the Women's Super League, it's increasing to 10 clubs, which is the opposite to what they're doing in the NRL. They've deliberately kept it small, intense, made sure that the best players are concentrated so that the level goes up. We're doing it a slightly different way. We just want everybody who can participate to feel a part of it. Is there a right or a wrong way to develop the sport? Would you rather have a really intense game every week and bridge that gap to the Gillaroos, or are you just happy to take all the fixtures as they come, whoever it is and whatever the standard might be?
Well, we've not playing for a while. The more games, the merrier. Like, the more competition we can have, the more exposure the like lower clubs will have coming through, so they'll get more experience, and then that'll increase their rates and stuff like that. So I just feel like the more the merrier. Is like, we'll just get more game time, more exposure, and obviously, like, you do always work up to the higher intensity games. But sometimes if you do have that week in, week out, it can be hard to sustain yourself, and you can then become overworked. So I just think it gives us the ability to work on a few things that we may want to try and experiment that we can against like lower teams and then take it into a higher pressurized situation. So I just think playing more games will just give the players more confidence to go in and execute their own skills.
And you're in the vanguard of women's sport. You know, the young, new, fresh face of it happens to be rugby. What's your thoughts on women's sport as a whole? We've seen, obviously, the BBC have done a deal now for women's soccer, the Women's Football World Cup, the first female jockey winning the Grand National this weekend. This must be an incredibly exciting time to be an athlete in women's sport.
100%. I just feel like it's the right time for it to carry on growing, and the more exposure that we can get, the better it'll be. And at the minute, it's hitting right at the right time, I think. So especially like for me as a like young player, like I feel like I've had it quite good with like having the exposure and having, whereas like early years like may not have had that. And I think it's a huge privilege just to be able to like be shown and be in the spotlight. But it's just all credit, and you get this credit and recognition that the women's game deserves, and hopefully it'll only grow from here.
Who should we be looking out for then, players to keep an eye on in the Super League this season, either teammates of your own at Leeds or at other clubs?
I think a lot of the young players like within, so like Kira, Caitlin will have a great season this season. Just some like new girls that may have not been spotted. We've got a few 19s players coming in, and I reckon they could just make a huge difference in and around the game and helping it to like grow, and make sure that we've got like younger players coming through. And then obviously like from other teams, you've got your Emily Rudges, you've got your Amy Hardcastles. All of them will be able to make a difference in and around there, and I think it's going to be a good season throughout the whole of the league.
I mean, that has been, I mentioned the Leeds and Castleford rivalry, but those games with Saints in 2019, so close, but Leeds on the right side of the result in the end, from your perspective. You must be looking forward to that kind of high intensity, high drama games in 2021.
100%. So we've got Saints like probably the back end of the season. So that'll give us a proper opportunity to make sure that we are ready for that game. And I feel like them, just the cast, the St. Helens, like they're all going to be very close games. And I think either side could have the potential of taking it. So we're just going to make sure that we're ready. We've got all of the tools in like our locker to make sure that we can come out on top at the end of the game.
So are you training with the netball girls at all? Because again, that's another addition now to the Rhinos brand, if you like. There are some emerging superstars in another sport, but do you ever see them? Do you keep in touch with them? Do you follow what they're doing? Do you share training sessions?
I went to school with like a few of the academy girls from the netball. So like I know the standard that they're doing, but we never like cross over like anything that they're doing, but they're making a huge impact on the netball stage, and I'm sure that they'll be able to break through coming through in that, because there is some talent coming through.
So tell us a little bit about your own squad. Who's the worst trainer, who's the worst dressed, who's the joker in the pack, who's the person you try and avoid getting on a wrestling mat with. Let us into some secrets so we can build up the personalities before the season starts.
Well, Courtney's accent about everything that she does within training, I think that makes it 10 times funnier than it actually is. But no, who would I not get into a wrestling match with?
Hannah Butcher.
Hannah Butcher, definitely no. I'm staying well clear of that. No, I would definitely. She would wipe me out. She would.
I don't want to cast aspersions, but if anybody was in the pub at 8 o'clock this morning, it possibly was Hannah.
I'm not. No comment to that one.
I'm joking.
No, I would definitely not get on the wrong side of her. There's quite a few actually. Ellie Frayne, don't think I'd get on the wrong side of her. She looks quite like calm and everything, but if you got into a fight with her, I think she'd be able to take a few people as well.
And characters, who makes you laugh the most? Who keeps the spirit up when you're doing the 54th sprint in training and you can't go any further?
Shannon always seems to be like lifting the spirit for me, but that's probably because she just takes the mick out of me half the time. But no, everyone in the team like helps each other, but like probably the most experienced, Courtney's always in and around making sure that everyone's high, and like if they need anything in training, she'll always be in and around. But yeah, Shannon does it for me.
I mean, obviously, it comes across in the way she speaks on TV, but she does come across, Connie, as a real leader. And obviously, that's not just on the field, but off the field with you all as well. Yeah,
I've had the pleasure of being teammate. She coached me for cricket. She's been like, she just gets a lot of people. She can handle a lot of personalities, and anyone that she'll ever come across, she can always seem to like motivate into like getting the best out of them. She always knows what to say. Don't get how she does it half the time, but yeah, she's a real asset to the squad.
Phil knows you have to get scrum cap on and get her in the men's team because they've got no halfbacks at the minute. So just put her in disguise. No one will know.
No one will know.
No. The grand finals obviously it was supposed to be at Headingley a couple of years ago, but obviously you had to move because of England reasons. But that must be a big carrot for you all in the squad to be able to potentially play in that grand final on your home ground.
100%. It's such a nice ground to play on. It's always a privilege playing on like your homegrown like soil. Like it's literally would be such a massive opportunity. Obviously watching a lot of my role models play on that pitch, so just being able to have that there and the opportunity for it to be there, that would be massive opportunities.
Do you think we're going to see more double headers with the men's game, that once venues are open to fans a little bit more, and we're all hopeful that it'll be sort of towards the end of June and capacities can go up a little bit? Is the way ahead not just for the women's game, but for the sport as a whole to promote this together? Because I actually think that the women's game can drive the men's in many respects.
100%. I feel like there's such a wide market that you could go into with the women's game that hasn't properly been explored yet. And I just feel like as soon as someone can take control of that and make it into something, you'll be able to get a lot more people coming into the game and being able to like just grow it even more. So I definitely think it'd be very nice. I would love to play in a double header with like the men's game. I think it'll just bring it a lot more exposure.
I think the final one for me, and you've mentioned it there, obviously for the future generations, you will be role models then, but who were the players you looked up to? I say growing up, you're still ridiculously young compared to me and Phil, but who were the players you admired and wanted to emulate on the field?
I definitely looked up to Lois growing up, just even her ability and motivation and work rate on and off the ball. Like she has got some skills, and definitely I looked up to her growing up. And then obviously Kevin Sinfield, Robbie Burrow, all of them. Like I remember going to watch literally nearly all of their games with my parents and just thinking like, just imagine like being on that pitch with them. So yeah, definitely them have been a massive game changer in my game, definitely.
Well, we're not privileged to bet on the women's game. We don't know anything about anything, so we wouldn't know anyway. But a lot of people are telling me that Saints are the team to look out for this year, that they've recruited anyone and everyone. Their coach clearly, or the England coach is within their system. It doesn't give them an advantage. I'm not saying that at all. But all of the pre-match publicity, the pre-season publicity, is saying that Saints are going to be the team to beat. But any messages for the women across the pennant?
I just think they got to watch the back. That's all. That's all we're gonna say to that one. No, I think it'll be a close game. But I've got my fingers crossed that we'll come out again on top like we did last season.
Well, we can't wait to have you back. We've been following the women's game since it started. We've been banging on ridiculously about how important it is to the sport. We want to promote the people that play it. It's not about crusty old blokes giving their opinion. It's about you. And the fact that you are a multi-sportsman, I think, is really important. That's what's come out of this chat, that, you know, you've done cricket, you're playing rugby union, you're playing rugby league, you've got international aspirations probably in both. You know, you are the face of the modern sport. So all power to you.
Thank you.
Well, we wish you well. Obviously, Phil's a Leeds supporter. He hopes you bring all the trophies back to Headingley again.
I'll polish them.
Yeah, Phil polish. That's his job. I'm obviously not a Leeds fan, but secretly.
He's upset because Tara Moxon signed for Leeds.
It's just like the men. They come along and poach all the best players to Leeds. You know, I've been watching this for 30 years. I'm used to this by now. I know how this works.
I'm looking forward to seeing what she'll bring to the side. Definitely, she brings a lot.
We wish you well, and thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us. Good luck on Sunday with the rest of the season, and we'll catch up with you at some point in 2021.
Thank you for having me.